be the oldest, but Mildred and Cortez was here when I moved here.
Okay.
Now, Mildred was here when I moved here. Mildred was in the church, and I've had to take orders to the church ever since.
So the school, how many grades did it have?
They was about, what, 7th grade?
I think so.
I think it, and there was 2 rooms, but they had all had to go to the same, you know, up to the 7th grade until they did move to October.
We won't. Right up that holler up there, but that's not. Conley's.
If somebody had a car, they would stop and pick somebody else up. Like, I know my mama and papa, George and Fanny, because not all the men drove.
Mm-hmm.
So the one that did, they would pick up along the way, wouldn't they?
Right in the middle of the building.
The existing building, right in the middle where the main aisle is. Well, I'll be about middle ways.
Yes, and one time they run out of wood, and Cortez and I went down to Zeagrass and got a load of kindling for them. You remember that old yeah?
I know it now. I don't ask my brain. Don't even ask me my name.
So
Well, you have to back me up.
Okay, I remember. I think so.
I think they asked Lake Junaluska or the Methodist something for a fund to start with, and Mulberry also asked her. And Mr. What's that old man's name? Addington, that drove the mail, and he told Vance Van Hook and Bart Fulcher said, "You ain't gonna do nothing. You never have done nothing at Hickory Knoll. Give that money to Mulberry." And that set them on fire, but they really went to work.
That's a good strategy.
Well, I think they started the Lord's Acre now.
They did.
And the Lord's Acre, they planted corn, and then they took the corn to Atlanta, and they sold it, and that was the first money they started on the building fund.
wow. How did they get it to Atlanta, on the train, perhaps?
No,
They took it on vehicles.
they started the Lord's Acre on about 19 and 29 or 50 along there, wasn't it, Lou?
He wanted to know how to get the corn to the
Well,
Atlanta.
the one and then they took it in a pickup,
Okay.
and they sold it, you know, I thought, is it on the
They
street?
took it to the farmer's market.
Well, okay.
But it seemed large. Back then it seemed bigger, didn't
And
it?
we use the Sunday school rooms also. We
Sure.
put tables in there.
And I know Jane Gowan said before she left, she said, said, "Debbie, I don't know how we managed down here in the basement when we had a big gathering." I said, "I don't either now after getting the fellowship hall, because the tables was, man, they were what, about 5 feet wide, and then they went from almost from one end of the room to the other end. RL had made them." And talking about the potlucks, now I know in the late 70s, they had a few occasionally after church, celebrating different things.
When they had vacation Bible school,
Yeah.
they always had.
And homecoming and maybe Fifth Sundays they'd have potluck.
Was homecoming big?
It was big enough to fill that basement, because I remember one time Cortez was sitting with me and she said, Lou, do you know anybody here? I said, no, I don't know anybody.
We've always had
Yeah.
Sunday school for the children.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that started pretty much in the beginning?
Yeah.
So when you guys would take off, say, you said walk up to the church, you'd take off early in the morning. When was the service normally?
We always went to Sunday school. We lived out here where the pond is. We went right up the holler by
Okay.
Larry Conley's.
And
I
then,
guess we got there at 10, wasn't it?
And you come out that road, the old road's still there from the right over from the church, you know.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
It
it's
was
out
all,
the road you went
there wasn't
out.
any pavement anywhere.
No.
No, anywhere. Not even up to your house.
No, I know. 10 o'clock, 10 o'clock was basically when the service started?
The Sunday school, and then about 11, if that day we had preaching, he would come.
Wait, what would happen if you didn't have preaching?
We turned out and went home early.
Okay.
No, we never have had music. This is the first time we've ever had music.
Really?
Well, we had a kids choir there for a few years with Margaret Ledbetter. She come over from Bethel. She went to church at Bethel, come over, I don't know, I guess maybe one Sunday out of the month and teach us some songs.
Wow. So it's only been in like the last 5 or 10 years that the music has really come along?
That was in the late 60s. Yeah,
Late 60s?
mid
huh?
60s. Mid 60s, I guess.
It was that union, it's still standing. It looked pretty old, but it's still
Now,
standing.
is that the one that you all just split off from like 10 or 15 years ago?
And we split off from Clark's Chapel and Bethel. And the
Okay.
parsonage was at Clark's Chapel. Yeah, we put money into that.
Is that up on the hill there by the church?
No, it's on Medlin Road. It's where the Clark's Chapel use it now.
They're buying Bethel's part now.
Are they? Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, we put some money in it, and then they paid us
Okay.
when we went to our sales.
Huh.
Bethel and Clark's Chapel.
Huh.
And but I remember one time Dunlap stayed at Franklin, parsonage at Franklin, little house.
Yeah, we had
on
a
Bidwell
parsonage on Bidwell Street.
I think that's when he was.
That was Snow Hill.
It's Snow Hill, yeah. And he stayed there.
They lived there.
I think they eventually sold it.
Yeah.
Were the men supposed to wear a coat and tie?
No, they wore overalls.
Overalls.
What they did, Bart Fulcher.
They never did dress.
Vest
Now they
man,
come
they wore
clean.
overalls.
Just
Now
everyday
they
work clothes.
come clean, but they wasn't no.
It was clean, yeah.
And
No
all the
dress.
women would wear dresses.
Oh, well, we did.
And
Back when I growed up, you know, you was told you didn't wear pants.
That's
Yeah.
right. And you remember that funeral? Nan Cunningham, look over there. Look over there. She got on pants at the funeral.
we had to celebrate the bicentennial. Dunlap was here, and he wanted to find a way to do like they done when the country first started or got our independence.
That's like in the Civil War.
Yeah, or
He rode in a horse.
yeah, he Margaret had a horse, and so he come. Benny and I was dating at the time, so he come down and got the horse and brought it up there, and Mr. Dunlap got on it out there at RL's shop and rode it out there, and he had the hat, you know, like they wore in them days, and the long black coat. But Benny said when he got on, he was just a shaking, but he wanted to do that. You know, he wanted to ask if anybody had a horse and loan it to him.
Now, he was the pastor,
Yeah,
Yes.
hmm That's what we done to celebrate the bicentennial
76.
Yeah.
76.
in July '76.
And didn't all the ladies, you made the
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
they
The
did.
hats and the
Wore
dresses.
Yeah, they wore bonnets and
And
everything.
some of
Aprons.
them wore their aprons now.
Mhm, yeah, women dressed up.
I would say,
25 or 30 would
That's-
be a big crowd.
yeah, that would, I would
Really?
say 1820s on real ones that would join at that time.
Mr. Cave taught us that we went through the whole Bible. How long did it take?
15 years, 15 years.
That long?
Yeah,
15 years.
We sure did.
yeah.
We had about 2 chapters a night now.
One chapter a night sometimes. Then we missed we had to miss some Wednesday
And
nights.
then if he got the rabbit hunting while we get there, 2 chapters in.
And we did, but I know we come a couple of times here. You know, when just bad weather. Went to Nan's, went to some of the homes after about a year.
Miss Ledbetter.
Yeah, went to his home when he had surgery. Yeah, Mrs. Ledbetter's home.
And the rabbit hunting, I mean the one done in church where they tell these big tales, you know.
Oh.
Yeah, they
Gotcha.
get off the subject.
We never
and
did.
then
They
go
get,
back.
they get off the subject,
Well, that's
you know,
never happened.
and they went home back in their childhood.
And when Preacher Dunlap couldn't preach, well, Nellie'd get up and preach. She'd beat him sometimes.
And she sat on the back row, right on the end, and when she held her hand up, he quit. And she bragged about it.
Yes, she did.
She made him quit.
Well, you know, you've had some women that check their time.
That was Rosemary done that.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Rosemary told Hal Finney, said, if you don't have a watch, you get one. And we're leaving here at 12 sharp.